Iran.
President Hassan Rouhani is making waves here in Davos. He is the first Iranian leader to come for more than a decade, and he presents a very different face to the firebrand Mr Ahmadinejad, who was in power for 8 years. Mr Rouhani is emphasizing that he wants to end Iran's isolation. He's making a vigorous defense of Iran's right to have nuclear energy. He says he doesn't want to have nuclear weapons. He's also making a big effort to suggest that Iran wants to make peace with its neighbors. It's in a very unstable region. He's been stressing the problems in neighboring Afghanistan, where the Americans are withdrawing, Libya, Egypt, even Turkey, where there's political instability, and of course, most of all, Syria, where Iran is in fact supplying troops and armaments to support the Assad regime against the resistance movement. Mr Rouhani is Mr Moderation, at least that's the kind of language he uses. He listens carefully to questions. He's got a very good sense of humor. He's got a ready laugh as he relaxes. I think that he is a kind of new leader. He's also, one suspects, he's conscious of the fact that he did win an overwhelming victory in the Iranian election last year. He notched up that important interim nuclear agreement with America and the other world powers. It's an interim agreement only, so he has tangible success. And what one hears, at least, is that he's conscious that his popularity is on the increase. So for all these reasons, I think Mr Rouhani is the man that the West could do business with, even if he's not a Gorbachev seeking to totally overthrow or undermine the present regime. The Iranian government has an interesting phrase that they use about the current economy, which faces sanctions across the board. They call it the resistance economy. And I think Mr Rouhani, he thinks he can, with certain changes and some lifting of sanctions, get around 6%, 5-6% growth maybe in a year's time. But to propel Iran to one of the top 10 economies in the world, there needs to be serious reform and, of course, a comprehensive end to sanctions. Then Iran, which holds the largest gas reserves in the world, third largest oil reserves, could tap its real promise and potential. The question he hasn't answered is the crucial one of relations with Saudi Arabia. They're the ones really worried about an accommodation perhaps between America and Iran. Iran desperately needs to have peace with its neighbors in order to realize its potential. And I think Mr Rouhani is acutely aware of this, but he's also aware that he can't go too far because there are conservative forces in Tehran as well as there are in Washington. And that's Lionel Barber here in Davos as editor of the Financial Times.